Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing something really different than what I usually do. I usually just make like Avatar Last Airbender content, but I really wanted to make like an update video to my coming out as trans video because honestly, I didn't think I was going to get like as much positive comments and as much support as I got on that video. And it really meant a lot to me that, so many people were supportive, and also that a lot of people were telling me of their experiences, and it really touched me. And in that video, like, I kind of said that I was gonna just not talk about it anymore, and I feel like, for the most part that's still kind of true, but I figured like it doesn't really hurt to make an update video and to sort of I don't know, share my experience. I feel like probably it could be helpful to some of you guys out there. And I feel like, I have this platform and it's something that I feel like I can do. So like, why not? So if you're wondering why, like, I kind of went back on my word, that's why. It's like, honestly, all I was expecting was people to be like, okay, like, I was expecting people to be very hateful, to be honest. And then also I was expecting people to kind of just be like, well, okay, whatever. Like, but actually people seem very happy for me. So it felt really good and like positive to come out on this channel and have that. And also in that video, like, I was so nervous. Like I watched that video back, and I just felt like you could tell like this was something that was weighing on me like so heavily, and that like I was just really afraid to like kind of announce it to the world in that way. But I'm so glad that I did. Like, I don't even know how my life would go if like I wish I'd done it sooner. So I feel like that wasn't as good of a representation because it was sort of like all just coming out at once and I wasn't really sure how things were gonna go. But now I feel a little more confident. I feel like most people don't really care, and there's actually like people out there who are interested in hearing my experiences with some of this stuff. So I'm gonna talk about it, and maybe this is a video that will help you if maybe this is something that you're questioning, and it'll give you some insight. And that's the goal, hopefully. And it's fine if you're not interested in this content. I'll see you guys next week. Like, I'm still making Avatar videos. This doesn't take away from it. I just wanted to give an update to my life. So obviously in that video I came out as transgender, like a trans woman, right? Which is male to female. And since that video, like, I've begun taking hormones and start sort of transitioning socially, like in the rest of my life. I feel like it's had such like a positive impact on my self-esteem and like my confidence and how I feel about myself. And for that reason, like, I feel like no matter kind of what happens going forward, like, it was definitely a net positive for me, because I was dealing with a lot of gender dysphoria that I wasn't even like fully aware how much it was holding me back in life, if I'm being real. Like, I feel like and it still does, like, it's still something you struggle with as you're transitioning, obviously, but now it's completely different than how I felt like in that video. I feel a lot more like myself. Like, the hormone therapy that I've begun taking has really shifted my self-perception, and it's changed the way that I feel like emotionally and things like that. And I just wanted to give like my perspective on it, because I know everyone's perspective is kind of different when they start taking the hormones and they start transitioning, like kind of like socially transitioning the way I have. Now, I guess the first thing is that, this is something that I was struggling with for years and years and years. Like, I was struggling this basically for my entire life. And, I think that's hard for a lot of people to like understand, or like try to understand, especially people that know you before, because, if you go through gender dysphoria, it's something that I feel like you are very good at trying to hide, or like sort of coping with, and I was someone that I found a lot of different ways for me to try to cope with those feelings, but it never truly like disappeared, right? Again, like, it's not like it has 100%, but it's definitely like been more alleviated than I ever have felt in my life. So it makes me believe that this absolutely was the right decision, and like I'm not having any regrets or anything like that. So, but just to give the perspective, ever since I was a kid, basically, like, I've always been more feminine. When I remember I would go to like McDonald's and I would ask for the girl toy, and my mom would always say like, oh, he's a boy, but he wants the girl toy. And I remember being like, no, don't call me that. Don't tell them that I'm a boy. Just say that I want the girl toy. Like, that was kind of my perspective as a kid. And those instances now, like I am recognizing more and more and more. I'm remembering more things from my early childhood and my adolescence, and seeing like, oh, this was like a sign that like I was going through this. So definitely what people say about it's something that you start pretty early in your life and you kind of start to recognize it. That was definitely true for me. And I feel like I was even going through it like a lot when I was in middle school. So if you're in middle school right now, like, good luck. I'll just say that. But for me, it was something, I really struggled in middle school. I actually had to like leave middle school because I was getting bullied for being gay back when I was gay, right? Yeah, it was definitely difficult for me. Looking back, there were definitely moments where I felt like I could have come out. I remember my sister asking me like one time, this was actually when like Caitlyn Jenner was coming out. Like, this is a long time ago, guys. Like, back when I was like in high school, and I remember I was very like interested in this topic because obviously I'm trans, like, but at the time, I was very interested in it. And I remember my sister asking me like, oh, like, why are you so into this? Like, are you trans? And being like, no, like denying it. And I just think back to that moment and in that moment, I knew what the answer was, right? Which was yes. Like, I knew that I was thinking about it. I just wasn't ready really to like talk about it. And I felt like there wasn't really like support for me or like an ability for me to talk about it and like I don't know, just in a way to communicate like the way I was feeling, because I wasn't even really sure if I was trans at the time. Like, I mean, when you're really young like that, it's hard to like know for certain what you're feeling. With hindsight, like I can definitely tell that was brought on because of gender dysphoria. Now I'm realizing like how much I was really struggling with gender dysphoria, especially like going from being like a preteen to like a teenager to an adult. Let's just say I did not like to leave the house, and I struggled a lot with like being a independent person, just to like live my life. Like, I needed other people to like kind of help me, It's okay to like need other people's help, I'm not trying to say that, but I think it got to the point where it was really unhealthy for me because I just wasn't like living my life. All of these things really made me come to the conclusion that, it wasn't just something that I had made up or something that I was just thinking about. It was something that I actually really truly like desired and needed for myself. The people who I'm most honest with, like my best friend, I don't know if this was really like as much of a surprise to a lot of them. Actually, when I came out to my sister, guys, like I called her and I was like, I have to tell you something. Like, I was gonna cry. Like, I was so emotional, and she literally guessed. She was like, what are you gonna tell me? You're gonna tell me you're trans? And I was like, it was really, and I don't think she thought like at the moment. I think she just thought it was a joke. But it just goes to show you, like, I feel like people really were like in their back of their mind kind of knew that this was something that I was thinking about and that it was something that was important to me. I just wanted to give more of that context because I feel like a lot of people think that it just comes out of nowhere and like, oh, you just like, yes, tomorrow feel like this way or something, when it's really not. Like, it's something that I was struggling with for so long, and I just never had like the way to express it, or like, and it's not that I didn't understand what transgender was. Like, I knew what being transgender was, but it's just I couldn't like figure out that that's what I was doing or that's who I was. It really, I guess, began like earlier in 2022. I think around February was when I really began like questioning it like a lot. Like, every single day I was thinking like, am I a girl? Like, is this the thing that I need to be doing? And I'll tell you guys also, like, I think that a lot of transgender people also relate to this, which is that for me, like, I tried everything other than trying to be trans. Like, I tried every other way to cope with this gender dysphoria. I tried everything, you know what I'm saying? And so I guess that's kind of why it like triggers me when people say like, oh, why don't you just do this? Or like, I don't know, when people think like there's a solution other than doing what I'm doing right now, like, there really was not. This is the only thing that's worked for me. For that reason, like, you just have to trust yourself. You just have to know for yourself who you are, what you want to do in your life. If other people don't understand that thing, then, that's their problem. They need to get with the program. It's not you that needs to change or fix yourself or anything like that. Yes, but in 2022, I kind of came to this conclusion. I honestly knew I was struggling with this long before I was making Avatar Last Airbender videos. I kind of like, my channel just kind of blew up with Avatar content with the shorts, and I wasn't expecting it at all, if I'm being real. Like, I didn't think at all that would ever happen in my life. I mean, it was always, again, in the back of my mind, like, oh yeah, these YouTube videos could like really go off and like people like, I could get millions of views, but I never really thought that was actually something that would happen to me. You know, around April, like that's kind of when a lot of the stuff was going on in my life where I broke up with my ex. I was making these avatar videos for the first time and they were getting like hundreds of thousands of views, which I was not used to. So all of those things were just like happening all at once. And then I guess basically by May, I was pretty much certain that this is what I needed. It gave me, you know, I feel like this year it gave me a lot of perspective to go through all of these changes. And I know people also will say like, well, you went through all these changes, so like obviously that made you trans or something, like when really it's not. Like what happened is I was going through a lot of changes in my life. I had to like reevaluate what I wanted out of life, like who I wanted to spend my time with, and like how I viewed myself, right? Because I never had like an audience. I never had people looking at me and thinking, I don't know, having opinions about me. Like that was never something I was really used to, you know, like on a large scale. And so it started to make me realize that the way that I'd been presenting in the world was not aligned with the way that I actually felt. And so that's really what made me be like, okay, I need to start coming out to people. I need to start actually transitioning and like doing this for real. And I still wasn't 100% sure. Like when I started coming out to people, I still was not like 100% sure that this was what was going to solve like the problems in my life. And it's not like it solves every single problem in your life, right? But it definitely makes coping with the problems that you have just in day-to-day life like a lot easier, because you're not dealing with gender dysphoria. But after going through it, then you kind of have the wisdom of being able to look back and say, oh, okay, that's why I was doing that. Like those are the reasons I was doing those things. Basically all of this, and then it just culminated to I was coming out to all my family, and then I waited a while because I wasn't really sure like how the response was going to be with my family, and then I decided I would, after everything kind of settled, that I would come out to my YouTube channel. And again, I honestly, like, it's like what every trans person says is that they wish they had done this earlier. And like, I was, you know, I was struggling a lot. Like, I remember going back like 1 year, like looking at January in 2022, I was just struggling like a lot. Like I cut my hair because I was under the assumption that like, if I cut my hair, like I'd be like a cute boy and it would like solve all my problems. Did not do that, right? But yeah, so all of these things like culminated, I guess. Really, I would say for me, I wasn't sure if I was going to take hormones also. I wasn't sure about anything. But then I eventually researched like the changes that it does to you. And then I made an appointment, and then I got a prescription, and then I started. And then that's really what I feel like made it click in my head that like, this is 100% what I want to do, which I was already pretty sure. Like by the time I made that video, like I wouldn't have made that video and like embarrassed myself basically. Like I wouldn't have done that. And obviously you guys see me, like I always got my makeup beat on my channel, and I'm wearing women's clothes now. So obviously things have been very different for me. Honestly, the hormones were like life-saving. Like I don't even know how to describe it. Like it completely, because it was finally like, not only was I like actually making progress and I was like getting treatment for what I felt like was a condition that I had, as I began to start seeing changes. And now it's been about 4 months that I've been on hormones. You know, as you start to see changes, you start to notice emotional changes, you know, and things like that. Yeah, it really gives you a new perspective on life. Yeah, I feel more like myself. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Only like really if you're trans, like you're gonna understand what I mean. But so for my treatment, like basically I'm taking spironolactone and estradiol, and that's sort of just like the treatment that is pretty standard for male to female. You know, everyone's different, so different people are gonna take different types of hormones. Some people don't take like the same medicine that I'm taking, and some people don't need to have medicine in order to like treat their gender dysphoria. But for me, it was definitely something that I felt like was necessary. So for me, again, I'm taking spironolactone and estradiol, which spiro is the anti-testosterone or testosterone blockers, and then estradiol is like the estrogen. You know, and this part of the video is going to get kind of personal. Like we're going to talk about changes to my body and things like that. So if you're not into that, then click off. You know, for me, the hormones really changed. I started noticing differences by the second month. So I started on October 1st, and then I started noticing differences like mid-November, basically. And the first thing I noticed was, honestly, emotionally, like I was just a very different person. Like, I didn't feel as angry all the time. Like I was definitely struggling with like anger and like getting really pissed all the time and getting really frustrated. Like I feel like my threshold for getting angry was very low, and I would just get really frustrated and angry all the time. Again, I feel like was gender dysphoria for me. Now I feel like I still obviously have emotions and I get angry and things like that, but a lot of the times like anger is not the go-to emotion for me. Secondly, like I started having crazy dreams, like insane dreams. Like I was already having like all of these insane dreams that I was having. Like after I came out, like I really started having these crazy, crazy dreams where like I was getting mauled by bears and it was like mauled by tigers, like crazy things that were happening in my dreams. Now, like my dreams have definitely calmed down in like violence, but they are still super vivid. I dream basically every single night. I remember my dreams, which is something very unusual. Like I would have dreams, but it was never like something that I would have every night and I would always remember. It just enhances I feel like your mental, emotional state, and that seeps into your subconscious when you're asleep. So that was something I wasn't really expecting, but it started happening. And then the changes to my body that I started noticing were my skin was getting a lot smoother, especially like on my face. I always had like very kind of oily, like gross, rough skin on my face, and that started changing. Obviously I started to have differences in my chest and like was much more sensitive and things like that. Has been very unusual, but good, and it's been like a good positive change. I started seeing like changes to my chest really, like it was kind of in the beginning of December, and since then like I continue to see changes, if that's I want to be as like clean as I can about it. Yeah, and then there's going to be changes to things like your sexuality and things like that, so that's kind of happened, but for the most part like everything that's happened has been a positive impact, and I don't feel like I'm missing something. Like I don't feel like, oh, these changes are like destroying my life, like anything like that. Like I feel like if you were a cisgender guy, like you would be going through a lot of depression or something. Like you'd be really unhappy with the changes that are happening, and that has not been the case for me. Like I've been very satisfied like with what's been happening with the hormones. So I'm not like a medical doctor, I'm not like anything like, right, but yeah, for me, like I was kind of on the fence, and then I'm really glad I started them. And I honestly wish I'd just started them earlier, because I think that that's the push I needed. It was kind of the confirmation of like, oh, okay, like, yeah, no, I am like mentally a woman, and like I need to be taking like estrogen. And I have heard like people have negative kind of things with spironolactone, with the testosterone blockers. But for me, I haven't had that as much. I pee a lot. That's like the biggest thing, is that I have to pee all the time now. I used to not like pee like all the time. Now I like pee every hour, it feels like but that's kind of the biggest change for me, like physiologically. Yeah, but for the future, like I don't really know. Like we're gonna see what happens. Basically, we're gonna see what happens. We're gonna see transitioning is very expensive. Like it's very, very expensive, and it's just unfortunate that it's so inaccessible to like so many people. After going through the hormone therapy, like it's made me realize how much the things that make you feel more like the gender that you identify as, like how important those things are for your well-being, to be honest. Like, but yeah, I feel very happy with the way things are going at the moment. Really the biggest struggle for me is like the social aspect of it, and having to come out to people, and like having to explain things to people, and things like that. I think that it can be kind of embarrassing and difficult, because like people they just don't get it. They don't understand what it is to be trans, and to feel like that mentally you are the opposite sex, but you were born in the wrong body. I think that people like really struggle to understand what even that is, or how it is to experience that. Obviously, like I can empathize to some degree, because if this wasn't happening to me, I guess like it would probably be hard for me to understand it for another person. And certainly there's things that people go through that I don't understand, and I don't pretend to understand. But I think for the most part, like I think people, the big struggle is that people don't like believe you. Like they think that they know better than how you know yourself, and that's just never gonna work, right? That's never gonna work. So if you're struggling with this, like, and you feel like there's people out there who aren't supporting you, and they're not and maybe they don't understand this, just know that like those people don't need to understand. Like it's fine. Like not everyone's gonna understand, and it's okay. Being a YouTuber, like, it does add a layer of struggle to this. I'm not gonna lie. Like, so if you're not a YouTuber, like, at least you have that to look forward to. But if you are like me and you have videos of yourself, like, as your birth sex, like, on your channel, it is a struggle, right? Because anyone can just, like, go and look and see, especially because I started my channel identifying as a male, like, especially with my avatar content, and then I transitioned, like, mid all of this. And so I think most people don't really even know what's going on with me, but it's fine. You know, I'm trying to take it one day at a time. I'm trying to just accept that this is how it is for right now, and that things in the future will be different. I think for me, like, the hardest thing is my voice, and just knowing that, like, my voice doesn't really pass as a girl. And, you know, I try guys, I try to change my voice. I try to, like, practice it. It's just, it is way more complicated and hard than people really even realize. That's something that hormones are not going to fix if you're male to female. I think if you're female to male, then that's different because you're taking testosterone. But after you've been through male puberty the way I have, then it kind of makes it difficult to, especially with the voice. I think that's something that just never really changes. You know, that's why people have surgeries and things like that. And obviously, like, there's things that I want to change. Like, I have this huge Adam's apple that I want to get rid of. Oof. But for the most part, like, I don't know, like, I feel better than what I felt in August. Like, I feel like I look better. I feel like I feel better. Things are a lot more positive than I thought I thought I was going to really struggle, I guess. I was expecting to, like, very, very and I have struggled. It's not been 100% easy, but definitely, like, this was positive, and that overall, like, this was a huge positive forward momentum. Like, I feel like also, like, I changed 100%. Like, I'm not even the same person I was at the beginning of 2022. You know, I turned 25 in a week on January 19th, and I guess this is, like, the first birthday that I really feel like I've made a lot of progress in my life, and it feels like I'm actually on the right path. And I feel like myself, like, you know, I feel like an adult. Like, this is probably the first year that I was really like, oh, I'm like an adult. I'm not just this person that's, like, has nothing figured out, has nothing going on. Like, that's how I felt before. And obviously it's not just because of my transition. A lot of it's because of YouTube, and because, you know, changes in my relationships and things like that. Just looking at the transition also, like, it definitely has totally improved my life. Like, so again, I'm not trying to, like, encourage anyone or, like, discourage anyone or anything like that. Like, I think everyone needs to figure it out for their own sake. But yeah, I guess the advice I would have is that don't ignore it. Like, tell other people. Like, when people ask, don't feel embarrassed. Like, you know, it's okay to struggle with this and maybe not understand and not know. And it's okay to think that you're transgender and maybe you're not. Like, it's fine, you know? For me, like, it's just, I regret so much having waited so long to tell anyone. You know, I waited until I was 24, which is, like, why did I wait that long? Like, I feel like I waited way too long. I feel like I wasted a lot of, like, you know, the most precious years of my life, if I'm being honest. Now I'm in my mid-20s, but it's fine. We're all on different paths in life. I feel like going forward, like, I just feel a lot more positive. So I just wanted to make this video because honestly, the other video was so depressing and I was so sad, and I was like, I just wasn't having it. Like, I was so scared, I guess is what was happening. I was scared about how people were going to react. I was scared if this was even the right thing I was doing. But I'm glad I did it. I feel confident now. Looking back, like, I feel like I've changed a lot. I look different. Like, everything in my life has really changed. Yeah, it's been very positive. I don't want you guys to, like, worry about it. I don't know. And if you guys have questions, please leave them in the comments. I would love to make another video and update you guys in, like, a few more months, tell you guys how things have been going. Yeah, and I guess the reason I didn't want to do this to begin with was because I just wasn't really sure how people were going to respond to it. But seeing all the positivity, it made me realize that I think a lot of people might take value in some of this insight. Maybe some people are just interested, and that's cool if you're just interested. But if you're trans, like, you know, if you're a trans girl, please tell me. I want to know. I want to know all the other trans girls that watch my YouTube video, watch my YouTube channel. But or if you're a trans guy, that's cool too. Or if not, it doesn't matter. I really don't care. Well, I guess that was the other thing I didn't expect really, is that when I made that video, like there were so many people who were like, I'm LGBT, and I like, now I feel like I can like watch your videos and like have this space in this community that I feel safe in, and that's like crazy to me. Like I never thought that that's what direction that my channel was gonna go in, and like that's how people were gonna view me. Like I never ever thought that. And so having that conversation, I guess it makes you feel a lot more confident. It makes you feel like you're not just alone, like that there's other people that are struggling with it, and that other people see what I'm going through and they value the honesty of it. That's why I wanted to make this video. If you guys like this video, go ahead and leave a like, leave a subscription. This is very different than every other video I make. Again, like I don't really talk about, like I feel like people are going to go in the comments in there. Look, if you're going to be in the comments and be hateful, I'm just going to delete your comment. Like I'm just going to hide you from my channel. Like it's done. A lot of people just say, like they don't like this kind of content. They feel like, I don't want you to shove it down my throat, all this stuff. Like, well, you know, that's fine. Then don't watch this video. Like, I don't know what else to say. I'm not really like, again, like it's not even like girl, I'm not even the one to like fly the rainbow flag and like go to the pride parade. Like I've never been that person really, but it doesn't mean that I don't have a lot of respect for gay people and other LGBT people, and I feel lucky to be a part of this community with other people. And yeah, so it's worth the slings and arrows that you take. You know, it's worth all the name calling and all the BS that people try to pull on you when you're trans, because at the end of the day, like I'm winning. Like I don't know, I feel like what are you gonna say? You're gonna be bitter in my comments? Like go ahead, go be bitter in my comments. I'll continue to do this. I'll continue to look fierce and make videos that people enjoy, even though it's been a struggle, like, and it's not always been easy, and especially hearing people's unsolicited opinions, that I don't need everyone's opinion about this, but hearing other people who are positive about it and that find value in what I'm talking about, that totally makes up for everything, like everything. So yeah, I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for 2023. We're gonna see how it goes. Maybe I'll make a video in a few months about my, you know, what's been going on. Hopefully I'll be making even more progress, but for right now, I'm pretty satisfied with what direction I'm going in. Yeah, I guess I'll see you guys all in my next video. Bye.